Next up, we have one of the biggest champions in the state of California for military CPL. It's Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Sam Lee. Dr. Sam Lee's been here at the ground floor with many of us with military CPL and champion this along the way. It's great to work hand in hand with him right now with this MAP project with the 11 colleges in the IEDRC, and we're excited to expand this well beyond the borders of the Inland Empire and the desert region. Dr. Lee?
Thank you, Terrence, and thank you to our guests and presenters. Thank you to our participants for joining us this morning. I'm so happy to have so many here with us. We have 334 this morning, and that's just such a lovely thing. We had no idea when we set about planning this summit that it would gain so much interest, and we're just so delighted to see it on behalf of our veterans. Today, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about the initiative, a little bit about its mission and its background. Our mission is to increase equitable access and completion by making it normal and expected for all U.S. veterans and active duty service members to receive all the credit they deserve so they can achieve all their educational goals with existing GI Bill benefits. I'd like to start with a little story. This is Joey Mora, Army Sergeant First Class, E7. He has 3 military occupation specializations, MOSs. You'll hear us refer to that term throughout. 95B, 31B, and 31E. Basically, he's an MP, a military cop. With 19 years of active duty, 4 overseas tours, and he's still an active reservist. He was first deployed in 2003 for Operation Enduring Freedom, and later completed 3 more tours. But the tours interrupted his studies, so they were separated in a 10-year time frame. And so he had a difficult time making progress on his AA studies. He relocated to Eastvale, which is near us at Norco College, and that all changed when he learned about MAP. In spring of 2021, after his 10-year journey, he received an AA in social behavioral studies in just 1 year. And he has completed his residency. He is our first recipient of 30 MAP credits. And he's demonstrating proof of concept for the MAP initiative and respect for his many years of training and service. So he's in the process of transferring, so we're delighted to see that. And we're delighted to see that someone who basically gave up on his education found a way by recognizing his MilCPL that changed the trajectory of his life now. And he restarted his educational goals and his off and running. And that's what this mission is all about. This is Joey's evaluation report that shows the military course credit and the military occupational credit that we were able to award him. Let me go back a little bit, sorry. I'm annotating and having difficulty doing that at the same time. Okay, there we go. So you'll see that he gets 6 units of credit, course credit for 2 courses that were directly articulated with ACE credit courses or ACE courses from his military service. Also 9 units based on an analysis of his occupation as an MP, and then 10 credits toward electives, and then 3 toward his health sciences and 2 toward self-development, for a total of 30 units of credit. This is not the normal situation for our veterans. In fact, a RAND study estimates that only 1 in 4 veterans believes they received the college credits they deserve. 50% of the surveyed attempted, but only 47% of those were satisfied. So only a quarter of our veterans feel like they got the credit they deserve. Furthermore, in a 2019 San Jose State study found that only 44% of surveyed veterans received military credit at all. And 33% didn't even know what credits they received. The traditional credits are 3 units of PE, as you've heard before. It's a tough transition from military life, as has been noted already. Our post 9/11 veterans are more likely to say they struggled with a lack of structure in civilian life. And I have throughout this presentation linked to the studies or the articles that cite these facts. So later we'll share those with you. Half of post 9/11 veterans say it was somewhat or very difficult for them to readjust to civilian life. And here's a very sobering number. 45,000 veterans in the last 6 years have committed suicide. That's more than 20 per day. And we believe that education can play a part in changing that number moving forward by providing hope. This is an equity effort. Actually, this whole initiative for us started back in 2017 after we did an equity study and found that veterans were one of 4 populations on our campus that suffered disproportionate impact in terms of access or completion. That led to the birth of the Veterans Initiative at our college, and that led to the partnership with Assemblymember Cervantes. Our concept was to build a regional VRC where our veterans and regional veterans could come together and receive educational, health, and psychological support services to help them succeed in their studies. Along with that, VRC was a portion of money devoted to this idea of creating a platform that would maximize credit for veterans for their prior service, for their prior learning. And so it's been an equity endeavor from the beginning. Our thought was that if we could give veterans credit, and if we knew how to contact them, we could offer them credit and attract them to our programs and increase our access for our regional veterans. We have one of the lowest college going rates in the state, in Riverside County, and we want to reverse that, and we want to start with our veterans by doing that. We also know that it increases completion rate when veterans receive credit for prior learning. But let me just review a couple of equity considerations. 43% of post 9/11 veterans have a service-connected disability, and roughly 1 in 10 between the ages of 18 and 34 lives in poverty. That's a sobering number as well. Almost half of homeless veterans were African American, despite that they were only 11% of the veterans overall. The homeless rate among veterans is more than double the rate among non-veterans the same age. And our fighting force is diversifying. 1 in 6 post 9/11 veterans is a woman, and this number will double by 2040. In a study that looked at equity and CPL and the effects of CPL on completion, found that Latinx students were 24% more likely to complete. These are adult learners if they had credit for prior learning. The same holds true for our Black population with a plus 14. And for those enrolled in community college in isolation, that was a 25% increase in completion if they received credit for prior learning. And for Pell recipients, plus 19%. So almost twice the higher rate of ed completion for adult learners, 49% versus 27% for those who receive credit for prior learning. Now, there are other factors at play, but when this study looked in isolation at CPL, it did increase the overall likelihood of completion by more than 17% in adult learners. And it reduced time to completion compared to similar students without credit for prior learning. Now, I want to talk to you about the population that we have an opportunity to do something for. There are 18.5 million total veterans in the US now. 7.6 million are Gulf War era 1 and era 2. That's not World War I, World War II. It's just a Gulf War era 1 and 2 veterans. And the VA projects that the population will be just under 5.1 million this year, with a median age of 35. Of those 5.1 million, 1.7 million already have a BA or higher, so they're in good shape. It's the next 2 sets of students that we would like to focus on, the 2.44 million who have attended some college or earned an associate's degree, or the 1.17 million who have not attempted higher education at all. So we're looking at about 3.5 million students who are our opportunity. veterans who are our opportunity. In 2019, I like to think of cohorts when I'm thinking of how to support students. And in 2019, the cohort of veterans entering their journey on higher education was 168,000 nationwide. And so if we were able to award if we were able to award all 168,000 1 year of credit for prior learning in recognition of their military training, the savings would be $3.49 billion. And we arrive at that by taking the Norco College post 9/11 GI Bill benefits, annual benefits of 20,971 times that 168. And you may say that's far-fetched to expect that all of them would receive 30 units. And that's likely true. But if half of those, imagine if half of those, or if all of them receive 15 units of credit, that's still a significant savings to our students and our country. And when I think about the savings, I don't think about savings for our country necessarily. I think about savings for our students. They preserve those benefits for use to complete a 5-year bachelor's degree if it takes an extra year in certain disciplines, or to complete a master's degree or even a PhD. Here are the top 5 completion institutions, according to Military Times, for the roughly 100,000 veterans who complete a degree or certificate each year. University of Phoenix is top. It used to be the California Community College system was top. That has been replaced with University of Phoenix. Next is the University of Maryland, then the California Community Colleges, and then American Public Education and Education Management Corp. I'd just like to point out that Phoenix is a leader. They do award up to 30 units for prior learning assessment for an AA. They do not indicate what type until the student enrolls, applies, or presents documentation until they sign up and start their courses. And they also do charge $2,400 for those 30 units of credit. And lastly, their articulations are not transparent nor adoptable by other colleges. Here's the big gap as we see it. ACE is the American Council on Education. For the last 30 years, they've been doing amazing work, evaluating military transcripts, military occupations, bringing disciplined faculty together from all over the country, norming them and asking them to make credit recommendations. In this case, we might look at a credit recommendation, 3 hours in management principles that ACE has made for the military occupation 95B. Remember Joey Moore, that was his military occupation specialization. On the right side is our college credit at Norco College, MAG 44, Management 44, 3 units of principles of management. There's no way, really, there's no system to facilitate the linking of these to create an articulation between the ACE credit recommendation and the Management 44 course in Norco College. This is done one by one on a one-by-one basis between a counselor and a veteran now at most all of our colleges. MAP was designed to bridge this gap and create a system to create an enduring articulation between the credit recommendation and the course. And it involves faculty in the process. This is what we believe is the key to this whole process. Is it needs to be faculty centric. We need to rely on our disciplined faculty to make the determination as to whether this is a good pairing, a valid pairing. And once it's approved or not approved, it's stored in MAP and it becomes adoptable by other colleges and visible by other colleges and awardable to our veterans. This is just one other story I'd like to give you a listen.
Hello, I'm Marisa Cana Cortez, a student veteran here at Norco College. I served in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years on 2 deployments as a 1371 Command Engineer team leader. When I left the military, I wanted to continue in my military occupational specialty as an engineer and pursue my engineering degree. When I came to Norco College, they introduced me to the military articulation platform, and through MAP, I was able to receive 30 units from my military experience. It saved me a lot of money and, more importantly, a year and a half worth of schooling.
Mauricio is our Student Veterans SVA chapter club president at Norco College, and very proud of him. And he's currently here and will be on a fast track to complete his degree shortly. And that it concludes my preview of our initiative